Today I'm going to show you why offensive personnel and formations are important for defenses. Just like the center communicates with the rest of his offensive line by pointing out the Mike linebacker to set the protection or pointing out where the potential blitz is coming from, the defense does something similar. Whether it's the linebackers or safeties, knowing your personnel, formation, alignment to declare the strength of the offensive formation is essential for how the defense sets up and identifying offensive tendencies. So to review personnel groupings real quick, we'll look at the first three, 21, 12, and 20. These are just kind of considered just like base offense personnel, so the offense is bread and butter. We'll look at the next ones, 22, 23, and 13. So goal line and short yardage, and then the next three, 11, 10, and 0-1 personnel, pass heavy, or if it's a run tendency, RPOs, things like that to be considered. And these are just general assumptions. As you're going through, the offensive tendencies will give you more of a clear picture. Next is how we label offensive positions. So to take special note, X is what we call our split end, our deeper vertical threat is how we consider it. Guys that are going to try to pop the lid off the defense. Z is going to be your flanker or slot. Y is going to be your primary tight end, their number one tight end, and U is going to be their number two tight end. Being able to label the positions correctly is extremely important because it tells you the type of matchups that the offense is trying to look for and trying to get with specific motions or play calls. Next, let's look at a 2023 matchup between the Houston Texans and Cincinnati Bengals. This is a picture of the formation. It's going to be 11 personnel with trips type bunch. It's going to be strong right. I've also put together a mini roster at the top of this formation diagram just to help you better identify key players and how they're labeled. We declare this strong right because we have both X and Z aligned to the same side of the formation. In addition to, we have a number 3 receiver aligned to the same side, which is the tight end. So it becomes trips. This allows us to set our front and our coverages, both our underneath coverage and over the top coverage, favoring the trip side. So we can match up on the route combinations both effectively and efficiently. Here we have cover 6 from the defense against a pretty common route combination from the Cincinnati Bengals. Being able to properly declare the strength of the formation will tell the defense what side is going to be the quarter side and what side is going to be the half field side. This is going to tell our coverage guys who their keys are and what route combinations they should be expecting based on their releases. In this case, because it's a cover 6, we have our backside inside linebacker, our Will. He'll be a vertical hook player, and because his number 2 is in the backfield, he'll be keying number 2 to quarterback intent and the release of number 1 if his 2 stays in the block. For our front side player, our 3 receiver hook player, he'll be to the quarter side, so he's going to be keying his number 3 to 2 player. He'll be keying the release of 3 to 2 as well as quarterback intent. You can see how the backside inside linebacker, number 53, how he's going to leverage 2 to the flat if he widens. And our front side, number 6, is leveraging 3 to 2 and reading quarterback intent. This next play is a great example of showing you why it's important not only to know the personnel, but know where players are located within the formation. This was probably my biggest learning curve in that transition from college to the NFL, because in college, in formations like empty right here, the strength of the offensive formation would always default to the trip side. But in the NFL, knowing where the players are, where key players are aligned within the formation will determine how we set the defense and which direction is going to be the strong side and weak side. So in that example, if we had 11 personnel, okay, so we had 1 back and 1 tight end. In that example, we had the back here and the tight end here. Okay, X and Z are aligned on the same side. This would be designated as the strong side, and this would be the weak side, or front side and back side of the formation. This ensures that we set our defense so that all players are aligned correctly and there's no mismatches personnel-wise, okay? Because what happens if you set this as the strong side, you would now have a nickel matched up on a running back, okay? And that wouldn't be too good of a matchup because you're not using a coverage guy as effectively as you should. And then on the backside, you would have a linebacker aligned up on a slot receiver. And if a quarterback sees that in the NFL, they're going to give an alert to this guy and they'll just push him vertical depending on what the safety shell is. If it's a 2 shell, they could have him bend it, you know what I mean? Or if it's a single high, they'll just have him run a vertical and run a high-low combination here, okay? So those are simple things. You have to know where key personnel are aligned within the formation. In this formation, people would look at this and see the trips up at the top of your screen and want to declare the strength of the formation to the trip side. In reality, we need to know who the key personnel are. If it's 11 personnel like it is here, where's X and Z aligned? Are they on opposite sides of the formation or the same side? And where's our tight end and our back aligned because it's empty? Because X and Z are aligned on the same side of the formation, we want to declare the strength of the defense to the right. So this will be strong right and set up our coverage to X and Z. Because it's cover 6 and we declared it strong right, this will set our quarter side of the coverage to X and Z, making our nickel player or outside linebacker, strong side outside linebacker as the quarter flat player, and the strong safety as the post curl player, and then our middle linebacker as a 3 receiver hook player. The corner to the quarter side will play quarters on his number 1 to his side. The strong safety or post curl player is reading the release of number 2, as well as has his eyes to the back side of the formation to see any vertical route by number 3 to that side. The quarter flat player is going to read the release of number 2 as well as quarterback intent. Because the quarter flat player, his number 3 is away on the back side of the formation, he wants to align with inside leverage of number 2 to be in the window of any in-breaking route. And then he'll match any out-breaking route of number 2 to the flat. On the back side of the formation, we're playing halves. So we have our free safety playing a half field technique. Our corner is playing squat. And then the weak side linebacker to that side is playing our vertical hook technique on the back. And then we have our other inside linebacker who aligns and drops off number 3 and is the 3 receiver hook player on the tight end. By declaring the strength to the right, this ensures that we have favorable coverage and we can cover all route combinations both effectively and efficiently. Here the ball was completed to the tight end in what we call the low hole. And it really wasn't bad coverage. The only thing is that inside linebacker, 3 receiver hook player declares himself a little too early and he jumps outside. It looks like he's trying to guess what route he's running. So he just jumps outside a little too early and it opens up the gate for that tight end to get inside and run that dig route. Here's another example of 11 personnel, and it would be strong left. It would be strong left because this time X and Z are aligned to the same side of the formation. Here you're going to see the tight end go in motion, taking the formation from a trips to a twin, 2x2. The tight end is going to be the number 2 on the back side. Because this is a zone pressure, the rules for declaring the strength can be completely different than your normal base defense. For example, here they could be running the pressure to the back, or they could be running it away or to the weak side. Whatever side is declared as the weak side, or they could be running it to an open or closed side. So however that is designated. Because of the motion of the tight end changes the coverage responsibilities on the back end, that backside safety or strong safety now has a new number 2, which is now the tight end. That front side seam flat player, that nickel at the top of the screen, because his number 3 is now away from him, he's going to align with inside leverage on number 2. That 3 receiver hook player also has a new number 3. His number 3 is now in the backfield, aligned away from him. Either way, the coverage is set up so that it's favoring the X and Z side. So that way your nickel player is aligned on Z at the top of the screen, and your corner is aligned on the number 1 to that side, which is Ja'Marr Chase. With the motion of the tight end making it a 2x2 set, that backside seam flat player, the strong safety, now has a new number 2, and he must be ready to match him on any vertical or outbreaking route. And that 3 receiver hook player, his number 3 is now in the backfield. The free safety will be a middle third player, and the corners will both be locked on number 1 to their side. Being able to set the strength of the defense and make adjustments to any motions or shifts by the offense helps ensure that the defense can cover all routes while still being able to pressure the quarterback, as well as match up on any routes. Here you can see with the motion that the inside linebackers help adjust the alignment of the D line, and it also changes the coverage responsibilities on the back end. This next play between the Buccaneers and the Atlanta Falcons in week 5 of this year, 2024, is a great example of communication and adjustments by the defense. Here we have 11 personnel with the strength being to the right. Even with the motion of the tight end, there's no change of strength motion because X and Z are aligned to the same side of the formation. It looks like initially that defensive end is declaring the strength or setting the front, and he's communicating that to the rest of the defense. Then you can see the nickel at the top of the screen communicating an adjustment and responsibilities to the rest of the defense. With X and Z on the same side, you can see that the defense sets the strength favoring those receivers. This ensures that the defensive coverage can effectively match up on routes by X and Z and also maintain responsibility in the run game.